Okay, we just wanted to make a quick video here with an overview of the installation process for the WarmTiles in-floor heating system that you can purchase at Menards. Here's a look at the box, and here's the product number. These are sold in various sizes, and it depends what size your room is and how many square feet you need to cover. So if you look at this top number here, we have a bathroom that we need to cover about 35 square feet, so we went with this one. There are smaller and larger options as well. In the box, you get an instruction manual, your heat sensor for the thermostat, and then the heating coil spool of cable. Something to note that we found out, we did just do one bathroom, and we found out that there is 3 markers in here. They're white tagged, kind of like this, that shows how far through the spool of wire you are. The original video that WarmTiles put out like 12 years ago on YouTube says that there's only a white tag in the middle of the roll. So we got to the first white tag and found out that there's actually 3 of them. There's a quarter marker, a half marker, and a 3/4 marker. So just so you know, if you buy this product, that hopefully that helps you from making a mistake. We did pick ours up and then eventually find out that there was additional tags in the spool. So I will show you the clip system for the floor next, and I will show you how we installed that, and then we will continue on with the installation process. When you open the WarmTiles box, you're also going to find these pieces of blue, what they're called plastic strapping, and they come in 12-inch lengths, just like that right there, and they click together. Just an open end and a closed end, or a male-female side. They click together. Then you set them to the length that you need based on how your bathroom is going to lay out. WarmTiles does recommend ohm testing your heat cables when you take them out of the box, and all that means is sticking an ohm meter on there. They recommend somewhere between 3 and 4 ohms for resistance. The wires themselves just make a loop, so you just connect your terminals to both the white and the black wire. We're not electricians, so don't take this as advice from us. But if you do want to make sure that there are no breaks in the wire from the manufacturer, and there were not any issues in the manufacturing process, this is a good idea to do before you dump any floor level or over the top of your cable, or even install it, just to save yourself some time and headache on the back end. It should also be noted that when installing the plastic strapping, you do have to take into account the layout of your bathroom and consider where the bathtub and the toilet are going to go, so you don't waste cable in areas that you do not need in-floor heat. Next, we will install the cable, and I'll show you how we determine our routing after we have it installed. As for the routing of the heating cable, that is going to be somewhat determined based on the location of the thermostat. The electricians mounted our thermostat right here, kind of right inside the doorway. And when you unspool the cable, you're going to find this is your heating cable, and this is what gets fed up the conduit into the thermostat mounting box. And so when you first determine where you're going to start, that heating cable cannot be buried in the wall because obviously it warms up. You can't have that would be a fire hazard. So you do have to take that into account with how you're going to start your run. And if you can see here, we wanted a little bit more coverage in front of the toilet, and then there's going to be a bathtub right here. So we didn't need anything under there. We don't need anything between the toilet and the bathtub. We don't need anything behind the toilet itself. Additionally, we don't need any cable on the floor underneath where the vanity is going to go. It's actually easier to see the layout and the routing of the cable on the floor on this drawing that I made of our bathroom here. I put an X here where the thermostat is mounted. It's right here. So this is where the cable and the heating cable extrudes from the wall. And then at that point, it's just about making a loop, and you can kind of follow my tracker. So you're zigzagging down and back and down and back and down and back, basically until you run out of cable. You're going to use about every third circle on here, every 3 notches is going to be the general rule of thumb. You can widen out if you need to, if that makes things flow a little better. You can also narrow things up. If you have some cable that you need to burn up, you can go every other. You do want to stay within a certain amount of space so you don't have cold spots, but then you also don't want the cables themselves to be too tight because you'll get warm spots as well. And then you do need to figure out just where your cable is going to terminate because, again, you cannot bury any of this in the wall, so if there is extra, you do want to try to plan it out as best you can to where it does finish in the floor, you know, without covering areas that don't need to be heated. The last thing you'll want to do when installing this is determine how you're going to lay your flooring over the top of the cable. In our case, we are going to be dumping the Level Quick floor leveling system over this floor. This is an old house and there's some uneven flooring, so this will just help flatten everything. In our case, you can lay tile right over the top of the cable. You just want to make sure that when you're troweling out your thin set, you run your notches the same direction as the cables themselves. If you do decide that you want to go with the self-leveling floor compound, you will need to prime the subfloor to help the compound itself adhere to the floor. If you don't, it won't stick very well. So that's the next thing we're going to do, and I will shoot a final video after the floor leveler has been covered. Basically what the floor leveler is going to do is it's going to cover all the cables, all of the plastic strapping, and any of the other thermostat sensor. So we'll be right back. Okay, we just finished pouring the floor leveler over top of the cables and the blue strapping that's on the floor. This is kind of what it'll look like when it's done. Obviously there's some discoloration because this is still wet and drying. The floor leveler takes about 4 hours to dry to the point that you can walk on it. So if you have any questions, let us know down in the comments. Thanks for watching.